Alright, number 1, find the product of 5, 6, and 2/5. It's simply multiplying. Don't forget to cross simplify to make your multiplying and reducing faster. That gave me 1/3. Find the quotient of 4 divided by 1/5. Keep 4 over 1, change the sign, and flip 1/5 to 5 over 1, which gives me 20. Number 2, solve for n. This is a fact family. So if I have two factors and it equals a product, I can divide that product by one factor to get the other factor, and that's what I did. I divided one by one factor to get the other factor. So that gave me 4.5, and equals 4.5. Solve for p, same thing. It's the exact same way. If this is my quotient, then if I divide it by a factor, it's going to give me the other factor. So all I have to do is multiply these two factors, and it'll give me the product. So 15 times 6 3/10 equals 94.5. Number 3, draw a model for 6 divided by 1/8. Well, if I split each one of these boxes, and I have 6 boxes, into 8, then notice that I split this by 4, and then I split it in half to make sure that I had 8 in each one. Well, if I did that for each one, I would have 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and 48. So then there are 48 1/8 in 6. The next one, Adriana wants to make some curtains for her living room. She bought some material. After making the curtain, she had 3 and 1/3 yard material left. She used 2 3/4 yards for each panel. She made 4 panels. So she started off with 4 panels that she used 2 3/4 for each one. How much material did she purchase originally? Well, now I have to add in what was left. Okay? So I'm going to multiply first this times 4 to figure out how much I used. So 2 3/4 times 4 gives me 11 over 4 times 4 over 1. I cross simplify it to make it easier, so now I'm only left with 11. Okay, now I need to add that back to what I had left, which gives me 14 1/3 of a yard of fabric, 14 1/3 yards. Find the first 5 multiples of 2. It will be 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. I went on and put the 6th one up there just so you can see it. Alright, and then 8, I did 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, and the 6th one was 48. What are the two common multiples of 2 and 8? Well, 2 is, if I continued with, it's 8, but if I continued with 2, you would also see that 16 is a common multiple. And least common multiple would be 8. Okay, write 3 and 5, 6 as an improper fraction. Multiply 6 times 3, and you get 18 plus 5 is 23. So it would be 23 over 6. Write 7 divided by 7 as a fraction. It would be 7 over 7. 18 and 4. 18 divided by 4 as a mixed number would be 4.
Plus 4 is 22.
It would be 4, and 4 can go into 18 4 times, and I get 2 left over, so it will be 4 2/4. I could also simplify that to 4.5. Alright, the yellow box weighs 3/4 as much as the blue box. The blue box weight is 16 pounds, so if I have a bar, and at the end I know that I'm going to get 16, and I split it into fourths, because this says that it's 3/4 of something, so I split each one into fourths. So how much would go inside of each one? Well, there would be 4 inside of each fourth. Okay, so 1/4 of 16 is 4. 2/4 of 16 is 8. 3/4 of 16 is 12. So how many pounds does the yellow box weigh? The yellow box weighs 12 pounds. Okay. All right, number 3. Did I skip any? Let me make sure I didn't skip any. Nope, I did it. I think I did them all. Okay. Number 3 is solve for m. Again, another fact family. These are my 2 variables, and it gives me a product. So now, since I don't know, not my variables, but my factors, and it gives me a product. So now, since I don't know one of my factors, I'm going to take my product. Now I'm going to make it a dividend, and I'm going to divide it by one of the factors. So 1 divided by 3/9. I just make it into a fraction, 1 over 1. I'm going to flip the sign to a times, and now I'm going to flip the fraction. Now it becomes 9 over 3. As you can see, I still get 9 over 3, so 9 divided by 3 equals 3, so m equals 3. Okay? All right, let's see. Let's see. Next one. Solve for W. 3/9 divided by W equals 1, so 3/9 divided by 1 over 1 equals W. I can keep 3/9. I'm going to change the sign and then flip it. Of course, I still get 3/9 because this is 1 over 1. So W equals 3/9. All right, next one. Find the rule. The rule is going to be x times 35/100ths, because if I multiply 10 times 35/100ths, it gives me 3 5/10. If I multiply 35/100ths times 10,000, it's going to give me 3,500. So the rule is x, which is 10, times 35/100ths. In this case, well, x is not 10. X changes. If you notice, it's from 10 here, it's 100 here, it's 1,000 here, it's 10,000 here. So because this is a variable, which means this number can vary or change, vary also means change, then I'm going to still write it down as the variable x. All right, plug in for n. N equals 7, so n equals 2 3/10. So 2 3/10 times 7 equals 16 1/10. In this case, n equals 7. So now 21 35/100ths divided by 7 gives me 3 5/100. Okay, so that's day 1 and 2. Let's go ahead and look at day 3. You should be able to do the grid with no problem. I'm not really going to go over that much. Shade 5/10, shade 5/10, you end up with 25/100ths. Okay, number 2. Dr. Andrew wants to run 6 miles, so I made a thing of 6 miles. There is an easier way. I really wanted to show you how to use your number line more than just with unit fractions. You can use it with even a fraction like 3/4. So if I have 6 and I'm going to go back 3/4 of a mile each time to show that I'm running 3/4 of a mile only each day, then I'm going to make sure I count it off 3/4 of a mile, and when I'm done, I end up with 8 days that I would need to run that race. Okay? Next one, Brianna finished a race 1 45/100ths of a second before Allison. Before 1, so 1 4. So then that means I would subtract 1 45/100ths from 12 8/100ths to figure out where that goes on the number line. Okay, and it definitely goes way before 12 8/10. It's a whole second off plus some. Okay, and then Dana finished 3/10 of a second after. Okay, so then that means that Brianna finished at 11 63 seconds, and Dana finished in 12 seconds and 11/100ths, or 12 11/100ths of a second. All right, thinking. I'm a number. When divided by the number 3, my remainder is 1. When the same number is divided equally among 4, the remainder is 2. My number falls between 50 and 60. What is my number? So I played around with a couple numbers just to see. Remember, if I don't get a remainder, then it's not going to really work. So I tried with 55, and I realized that I got a remainder of 1 for 3, so yay for that. But then when I divided by 4, I didn't get a remainder of 2, I got a remainder of 3. So I played around with a couple other numbers, and I realized that I got 19 with a remainder of 1 when I divided by 3, and 14 with a remainder of 2 when I divided by 4. So that was my number. 58 was my number. Okay, evaluate, follow order of operations. Just remember to solve your parentheses first. Then you do your exponent. You do not solve yet with the subtraction because now multiplying comes first. So I multiply 8 6/10 times 3, which gave me 25 8/10. Then I rewrite my exponent, which you're actually supposed to do your exponent before You multiplied like I did here. I did my exponent before I multiplied. And then you solve it. So now it's 25 and 8/10 minus 9, which is 16 and 8/10. All right, 8 to the power of 2 is 64, 8 to the power of 1 is 8, and 8 to the power of 0 is 1. Coordinate grid, my favorite. Okay, so remember that the y-axis stands up tall, just like the letter Y. I'll even make it look like more like a letter Y, a taller letter Y. Okay, stands up tall. The x-axis goes across the side. I was to label my origin 0 with intervals of 7 on the y-axis, intervals of 1 on the x-axis. I was to label dollars earned and jobs completed. Next, I was to look over here to determine what goes in the box for every job. So if every, meaning one, so for every one job Marta completes, she's earned $7. How many jobs must she complete to earn enough money for a concert ticket to buy that costs $58? Well, if I just go to 9, I'm going to get 63, so that goes over. But if I go to 8, that would be under the $58. So my assumption is that I would need to work at least 9 jobs. Okay? Next, you want to use your rule chart. For every one job, she got $7. So if I were to work 2 jobs, I'm going to keep x as a variable, so 7 times however many times she worked would give me her dollars earned, which would be my y column. So my rule is 7x. Okay? Notice that my chart goes exactly the way it's supposed to. I find x first and then go up to y. So that would be 1, 7. 2 would go to 14, and so forth and so on. Have a good evening, guys.